Very interesting takes right now about the Steam Machine, boys. I'm currently in arguments right now with Kata in DMs about the Steam Machine because you know what, I'm tired of people that are just like they're I get why people are doing it, right? I get why people are doing the, oh, you could have this computer that I'm gonna say is the same, but it's not actually the same. But you could have that instead of the Steam Machine. Like, everybody's just doing that because they want to make the Steam Machine look particularly bad for whatever reason that may be. But this particular comment, this one got me. I'm like, bro, this is what I mean by people don't fucking understand what the Steam Machine is meant to be. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you guys want to see more content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join me every single day, 9 p.m. over on the main channel, where you can catch me live every single day, 9 p.m. Eastern. I hope to see every single one of you there. Now back to the main video. It's meant to, people, there are so many people out there, and I know, listen, I get the popular thing right now is to shit on the Steam Machine. I totally understand. I get that. But I'm never going to look at it that way. I'm always going to look at it at the point where I know what Steam is trying to do. Is it perfect? Nope. Absolutely not. I would have never went with 8 gigs of VRAM personally. I've said that many times. But the people out there who are shitting on the Steam Machine, most of them had zero intentions either to buy it, or they thought for some reason it was meant to be a console and supposed to be priced like one. Never meant to be that way. I've been saying that literally since the beginning. But anyway, it is what it is. So let's talk about this. So Thomas Muller says the following: the Steam Machine is finally here and everybody's losing their shit over the price. Again, I don't know why, because I said from the beginning it was going to be 1K. Don't understand why people are like, it was supposed to be 400, 500, 600, whatever. Everybody out here is literally talking out their fucking ass. They don't understand hardware. Okay, they don't understand operating systems. They don't understand the differences between SteamOS in terms of performance with Windows. When I see people out here saying that they rather have XYZ Walmart machine for $1,000, bro, with a $35 power supply, you really want to use a computer from Walmart with a $35 power supply? Go ahead, brother. With a terrible go ahead, brother. With a terrible BIOS, go ahead. Please let me know how that goes. With Windows on top of that too, please let me know how that goes, bros. Go ahead. Have at it. You think you're gonna be doing 4K 60 with FSR and all that nonsense? With a $900, $1,000 Walmart computer? Go ahead, bro. Please let me know how that goes. Please. Anyway, so the Steam Machine's finally here. Everybody's losing their shit. The thing I'm wondering is, wasn't Half-Life 3 supposed to be shipped with the Steam Machine? Little thought experiment. Suppose it would have shipped. Would have been great in the same way Half-Life 1 and 2 were, and would have been exclusive to Steam Machine for a while. Would that have justified its price to you? Software sells hardware, brother. Okay, so how do I explain this for people who are out here pretending like they know about Steam and hardware? How do I explain this? Okay, so let me put it in stupid terms, okay? That entire exclusivity mindset, aka the closed borders, or the walled garden as they like to call it, that particular mindset, that is a console mindset, okay? That mindset is a console mindset, and it is the mindset that is meant to sell restrictive hardware. It's meant to sell hardware that has nothing else to offer other than a restrictive experience, right? That's what it's for. That's all it's ever been for. So you saying Half-Life 3 exclusivity, that is not what Steam has ever been for, and that is not what Steam would ever be. They eventually ended up putting Half-Life on other machines. Half-Life 3, when it comes out, is not going to be a Steam exclusive. It would be everywhere. If it was on Steam, it'd probably be on Steam for a few months until they fit. But like Half-Life, are we really bringing up Half-Life 3, bro? A video game that would probably never see the light of day? It's never going to see the light of day. Ever. Steam is meant to be literally everywhere. If you want a closed-in experience, if you want to just have like, let's just say a maximum graphical capability with a closed-in experience, you're going to go PlayStation. That's what you're going to go. And if you want to compare it to the Steam machine, you're going to go PlayStation. Go PlayStation 5. You're going to have a closed-in experience. You're going to be stuck in their own ecosystem, but go with a PlayStation 5 Pro and have at it. That's going to be the maximum graphical capability for that particular dollar amount, but you're going to have to deal with that particular closed-in experience, right? But if you want an open-ended experience at an entry-level option, and keep in mind, it's an option, right? Because if you want to play PlayStation games, what are you going to have to do? Especially for single-player games, you're going to have to buy a PS5. That's what they're trying to get. That's what they're trying to get you to do. If you want to play certain single-player Xbox games, what are you going to do? You're going to have to buy an Xbox. That's what they're trying to get you to do. Although, supposedly with the Helix, they're going to open it up a little bit, but we don't know about that yet. But if you want an open-end experience, well, then that's what you would go with Steam for, right? Number one. So having this entire mindset about exclusives, Steam doesn't need exclusives to sell their hardware. Steam never needed exclusives to sell anything because they're not a hardware company. And just because they're releasing hardware doesn't mean they're a hardware company or a hardware-focused company. They've never been that way. They've never been that way, ever. Steam is a software company. And even now, they're still a software company. And the mindset behind Steam is to offer an option. They want to offer an option to be able to get into PC gaming, but it's not the only option. The Steam, like, people are acting like if you don't get a Steam machine, you're not going to be able to enjoy Steam or Steam sales or anything like that. Obviously, that's not true. Steam machine is an option. Another thing too, people are bro, I can't even tell you how many times people are like, well, for $1,000, I could just build this $1,000 custom build that has Windows with the same specs that is 100 times the size of the Steam machine. Bro, what I keep telling people are being real weird about the Steam machine. It's odd. I don't really know what it is. Bro, you're not required to buy it, number one, in order to enjoy Steam. So that's a W. Because unlike the consoles that are selling for cheaper, the reason why they're selling for cheaper is because they're going to force you into their ecosystem. And then in order to play online, you're going to have to pay them. And if they charge that amongst the millions of people that do that, now they made their money back that they lost on the console. Steam doesn't have that option. People really tend to forget that. Like, Steam does not have any option for that whatsoever. It's a completely open-ended system that has no subscription whatsoever. There's literally no way for them to subsidize it. You can go buy a Steam machine right now and never buy a single video game from their store. If you did that with a PS5, all you're going to have is a glorified fucking DVD player. Unless you obviously do some illegal shit with it, but then that's something totally different, right? That's something totally different. Hypnotic's been triggered? I've been triggered by the lack of knowledge that people are trying to fucking argue with their whole chest. People are out here trying to, and I love how people are like, oh, you're triggered. Yeah, I'm triggered. Why? Because I saw the price coming from a mile away and everybody else didn't. So the ones that are complaining online, they're not triggered, but I am. How am I the triggered one when I'm the one that saw this coming a mile away and everybody wants to pretend to be blindsided? How the fuck? How does that even work? It's crazy to me. So then I argue. I was like, okay, so then people are saying, well, I could build a similar PC. Okay. Here's what I'll say. Build a similar PC with SteamOS at the same 6x6 size. Okay, because right now what people are doing is they're building computers at the same specs without SteamOS, with Windows in there. Subsidized parts, by the way. On top of that, too, they're building it with computers at 100 times the size. It's like, brother, are we going to pretend like convenience doesn't add value or sell? Are we going to pretend like convenience doesn't sell? Okay, if you don't think convenience doesn't sell, I already know that people out there are going to be like, well, I could just plug my PC into the computer. Okay, then why aren't people doing that? Why are people not doing that? Why were people interested in the Steam machine in the first place if they could just build a computer and attach it to their monitor. It's because they're not doing that. It's because they weren't doing that and they don't want to do that. That's what it is. That's what it is. They weren't doing that. Most people were not doing that. Convenience sells. Convenience always sells. And if you do not believe that convenience doesn't sell, then you can look at Uber Eats, right? Or better yet, I'll tell you something even more egregious in terms of convenience selling, right? How much do you guys pay for a bottle of water when you are in let's say a bodega? How much do you pay for a bottle of water in bodega? How much do you pay? How much do you pay for that bottle of water? Like what? Like $1, $2, something like that? Is this even an argument? This should be common sense. It's not common sense. People are thinking like, bro. Again, I've been saying that, is the Steam Machine too expensive? Yes. But that's because the Steam Machine and everything else is too expensive. I don't want to pay $900 for a PS5. I don't want to pay $1,050 for a Steam Machine. I don't want to pay whatever the fuck the Xbox price is. But at the end of the day, everybody's pretending like the Steam Machine is the only one that's the egregious. It's like, it's crazy. Under $3. All right, so what do you want to say? Like $2? You want to say $2? Okay. So $2 in a bodega. How much do you pay for that same water bottle when you're up in the air on a plane? How much do you pay for that same exact water bottle when you're up in the air on a plane? And I'm not talking about the people that use points for like whatever the fuck. That doesn't count. LOL more? Yeah, a lot more. Why? $5? Is it $5, bro? I don't think it's that cheap. I don't think it's that cheap. The point is, convenience sells. Convenience always sells. It's always going to sell. So the people who are out here comparing fucking literal towers or like mini towers to a 6x6 cube that's the size of a banana, I just don't see why you're doing that. Why are you doing that? That doesn't make any sense. And then if you're using the same parts and you're utilizing Windows instead of SteamOS, and then with your entire chest, you're saying that the games are going to run better, I don't know why you're doing that. You sound stupid. SteamOS runs video game. You get an average of 5 to 20% more FPS per video game with SteamOS. So the people out there using their Walmart computers trying to pretend like they're going to get the same exact performance with the same specs, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. You're better off arguing the PlayStation 5. But again, there's different philosophies there. You got walled garden versus open borders. Whichever is more important to you, go with that. So if the PlayStation 5, you want the most performance, but you want a closed experience, then go with that. Go with that. But if you want an open experience with less performance, then you might look at the Steam Machine, or guess what? Here's the most beautiful thing. You can look at all the other computers that are about to be made with the philosophy of the Steam Machine. You could do that too. It's all about depending. Oh, by the way, too, I see a lot of people that are saying like, well, what's the cube? Like, who cares about the cube? Who cares about the cube, right? Who cares about the size? Bro, I didn't even get to argue this because we're not on SNH yet, but I'll just tell you what I believe about that. Do you really mean to tell me, is it really that small? Yes, it's that small. It's a 6x6 cube. You really mean to tell me that size proposition is not attractive? Bro, I know an entire country that would like to have a word with you, and that country is called Japan. All these countries that have very limited living space, which is the reason why they like console gaming, and which is the reason why they don't like to do PC gaming as much as console gaming in Japan, is because of space. It's because of space. Even in China, too. Why do you think it's sold out in Japan in 3 hours? Bro, the Steam Machine is going to sell like crazy in places that have limited living space. So I understand over here in the US, it might be a little bit different. But I know a lot of people that live in the cities that have studio apartments that could really benefit from a little cube like that could do what it could do. Versus building a fucking mini desktop. Well, not even a mini desktop, technically like a mini tower, but still like a tower compared to a cube. They would rather have that and also be as quiet as the Steam Machine is. I mean, again, All I'm saying is I'm not. I want to reiterate.
I would
Because
rather spend one for a Steam machine for the cheaper games than a console that is slightly cheaper for games, overpriced for longer periods.
yeah, that's a whole bro. That's a whole nother conversation. I agree with you, but I'm not. I don't even have to go that far to prove my point. All I'm telling you is you don't have to. Obviously, you don't have to buy the machine. Like the beautiful thing about PC gaming is this is just one option to access a store that everybody wants access to. I just want to remind you, you don't have to buy the Steam machine in order to get access to the Steam library. You know that already. What I don't like is the people that don't know anything about hardware, that don't know anything about operating systems, and are out here with their full chest comparing the 6x6 fucking Steam machine cube to fucking desktops with the same spec and trying to pretend like it's the same thing. It's not the same thing. That is absolutely crazy. That's insane. With all due respect, I don't think Valve is even able to. They're not. And that's one thing that I said months ago. That's one thing that I said months ago when we were talking about on SNH. I'm like, bro, Valve doesn't give a fuck about competing with consoles. I see most of the people that are like criticizing the Steam machine. They're usually console fans, or they're like somebody who was potentially thinking about leaving console gaming. It's like they are not looking to compete with consoles. They never were. They don't even have the ability to. They don't even have like the advertising or the marketing to. They don't have it in them to do it. That was never their plan.
At MBW_Black Wolf celebrates 2 months of membership. While not as powerful, Steam Machine is a better deal than the PS5 solely for the number of games available to be played on it. Still too expensive.
Better. So, okay, here's the thing. Better deal depends on who's looking at it. These deals are so close that it depends on who's looking at it, right? Everybody's also complaining on the fact that it's not sold with a controller at $1,000 or whatever. Guys, the entire idea, the entire literal idea and philosophy behind Steam is open-ended. It's open-ended. So why would they raise the price to include the controller when they could give you the option to buy it without it, and then that way you could use whatever controller that you want, because there is no, you could use any controller. You could, that's the whole fucking point. That's the whole point. You could use any controller you want because it's a PC at the end of the day. It's not like you're forced to buy a PlayStation 5 controller to use with the PlayStation 5, or to use hardware that's specific for the PlayStation 5. Like, you could use it. It's open-ended. It's completely open-ended. So even, like, I understand why they chose to have an option without the controller, but to pretend like you have to sell it with the controller, you'd be surprised how many of these people are going to use it as a PC and not actually for the television. Even though I know that's kind of like an oxymoron a little bit, but you'd be surprised how many people are actually going to use it for the, why buy the bull when you could come for free? Relax, bro. Relax. Relax. Stop it. Listen, man, again, it's one of those things where I don't personally care, bro. I want to be very clear. I don't personally care.
I mod a bunch of my games. I was debating getting it not because of the price but modability of games.
That's
I
fair.
don't think it would handle
That's
the
fair.
amount of mods I use on my favorite games.
I don't think
my
so.
My PC is still a beast after 3 years.
I don't think so. To be honest with you, I think a lot of modding is done by more hardcore gamers, and I think more hardcore gamers are going to have more powerful PCs. So I don't really think this is going to apply to them, personally. I don't think you're going to be. I mean, you can, but I don't think you're going to be using the Steam machine to mod Elder Scrolls with like 2,000 mods. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. Personally, I think you're gonna blow up. You're gonna blow up the fucking. You're just gonna blow it up. You're gonna blow it up. So yeah, the only thing I don't like in this whole conversation. Everything else is whatever. But the only thing I don't like in this whole conversation is people trying to pass off completely different builds with completely different ideas behind them and trying to pass it off as if it's the same thing. And they're like, oh, you could just do this. It's the same thing as a Steam machine, but either cheaper or more powerful. And I'm like, bro, have you ever heard about if it's too good to be true that it is? Have you ever heard about that? You know what I'm saying? Have you ever heard about if it's too good to be true, it probably is? That's the only thing I don't like, because I just know these people don't know about hardware. Most of them. Probably like 95% of the people that are doing that have no idea about hardware. And they're trying to pretend as if convenience is not a thing.
Honestly, a Steam machine costs less than my phone, and that's the top version with controller. Steam is competing in a market that is already hostile towards them. Prices
You know what's
will
funny?
be inflated to parts they buy compared to others.
You know what's funny about that? GDR. First off, thank you for the 50. That's insane. Bet Gamer, thank you for the 20. Thank you guys so much. Very kind. Very kind. Thank you. Funny thing about that is that I've seen some people say that that exact argument, where they're like, the Steam machine is less than the phone. But then you'll have people, and bro, this is how you know they're like, oh my god, bro. Anyway, I don't want to use. I've seen people use that argument, and they'll be like, yeah, but with my phone, I could do whatever I want. I'm like, oh, you're so close. You're so close to getting it. You're so close, just a little further. Just push those brain synapses just a little bit further. You're so close to getting it. You're right there. You're right. It's like you're so close, but you're so far away. It's like, oh, so you could do whatever you want with your phone? Damn, imagine if somebody offered you an ability to have, just for a little bit more money, the ability to do whatever you want versus being in a very closed-in experience. You're so close, Oh, phones are absolutely overpriced, Sanguine. Of course they are, bro. 100%. Anyway, so my rotary phone is an Xbox. Everything's an Xbox. What do you think of the chances of refurbished Steam machines? Honestly, bro, you're probably going to be a year or two out before you see any refurbished Steam machines in any decent quantity.
I despise Linus Simo. He deserves gulags.
Oh, you talking about Linus Tech Tips? Why do people hate Linus Tech Tips? I don't watch his content, so I have no idea. But bro, every time I talk about hardware, I get people that like, fuck Linus Tech Tips. I'm like, dude, god damn, bro, I don't know. I have no idea. What the fuck? They just don't like him. It's crazy. But anyway, so listen, man, value proposition, it all depends on who you are. I've been saying forever that the Steam machine is a niche product. It is. Steam machine is a niche product. It is like, it's not meant for the hardcore gamer, in my opinion. I mean, it depends. Like, if you're a hardcore gamer and you're okay with playing at medium to high settings at 1080p, then sure, maybe. Then that's fine. But like, if you're hardcore, want the best of the best, whatever, then it's probably not for you. If you're a console gamer, probably not for you, because you would expect it to be cheaper when it's not ever going to be. Or you just don't understand what Steam is, so you think it's like not worth it or whatever. It's fine. And that's okay. People can think it's not worth it. That's perfectly fine. I want to reiterate, people can think it's not worth it. They can think it's too much money. They can think all these things. That's perfectly fine. Even I think it's too much money. I've said this many times over. But there's saying that, and then there's like, well, yeah, I could just buy this fucking full tower and it'll do the same thing as a Steam machine. Really? It'll do the same thing all around? All around? Come on, bro.
The Steam machine is great for people who travel a lot.
Exactly, bro. I'm going to take my Steam machine everywhere. Everywhere, bro. I'm going to take that little box literally everywhere. It's actually, I did the measurements. It's actually smaller than my current traveling computer, which is a cube. Ironically, it's a cube. I have a cube mini computer with 64 gigs of RAM, and I think it has like a 4060 in it or something like that. 64 gigs of RAM and like 4 terabytes of space, but it's like a sizable cube. I would have to look up the exact sizing again, but it's definitely like, it's a bigger cube.
Do you ever worry about having 100% digital library on Steam? Personally, I buy physical for my favorites.
So, I mean, I used to, but that's the reason why, like, even before I started streaming, I focused on buying games on the cheap. Like, I always waited until games were like 75, 80% off, 85% off, 90% off. Like, I was buying video games when they were like anywhere between $2 and $10. Like I would always like minimize my investment as much as possible. I never really experienced FOMO like that, unless it was a multiplayer video game. Then maybe if I was into it, like an MMO or something. But even then, every other kind of video game, I always just waited. personally. So that's just kind of how it goes. But considering the consistent rise of Steam, I know I'm going to check gifted games in a second. Considering the consistent rise of Steam over the years and how they're even bigger than consoles in terms of like the actual user base, no, I'm not necessarily worried. I'll tell you this. I'm more worried about Steam going public than Steam going under. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I think Steam, where they are, making $20 billion a year with 335 employees, I think that the more risky thing is them going potentially public, if at any point, versus potentially going under. I don't think they're going to go under, but there's always that possibility of them going public, and I think that's more dangerous to the platform and to gaming as a whole. Because, bro, can you imagine if Steam ends up going public and starts doing the same shit that all these other fucking jackasses are doing? Be crazy, bro. Insane. So again, there's a lot more that goes into that, you know? Why can't people just say it isn't for me? It's all personal situation. Because what I really think it is, and again, I don't know anybody's situation. I'm just telling you how I'm viewing things based off like emotional reactions. Because to be honest with you, a lot of the reactions are super emotional, which tells me that people were hoping somehow, some way that the Steam machine was going to give them the open-ended experience, the open-ended platform, the open-ended everything that comes with PC gaming, but somehow be cheaper than consoles. I don't get it. I never saw it. Never understood it. I don't know why that's a mindset. I don't know where that's coming from. I just, again, you guys know I've said this many times that I think people look at Steam as like a third world country, where people look at Steam as if they're the ones who like should be the cheapest out of the three. But people don't realize that Steam didn't get to where it is by being the easy bitch. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's not how it goes. Steam got to where it is because, well, actually, no, I take that back. They did get to where they are by being the easy bitch. Steam wants to be everywhere. Steam wants to spread its legs to everybody. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how it goes. Steam got to where it is by being the easy bitch. I take it back. It's the other way around, actually, when you use that analogy. But for some reason, that's just the mindset that people had. They were like, yeah, people were saying that the Steam machine has to be $500. Like, why does it have to be $500? And then when you dig at it, they're like, yeah, well, it needs to be $500 because it's got to compete with Xbox and PlayStation. Why does it have to compete with Xbox and PlayStation? What makes you think that that's what it has to do? Oh, but if it doesn't do that, it's going to bomb. Why would you think it's going to bomb? Again, they think you're being a smartass by asking these questions, but I'm not. I'm actually genuinely asked, like, why would you think it's going to bomb? You realize Steam is not going to make enough of these for it to ever bomb? This shit's going to sell out in 3 hours, and you're not going to see any more for 6 months to maybe a year. Steam is not a fucking hardware company. So how is, bro? I feel like I'm talking to a wall, dude. And it's like people. Listen, I love everybody. Like, I don't love everybody, but you know, it's like it's nothing personal. This is gonna be like an agree to disagree thing, but I feel like I'm talking to a wall, bro. There's like very few people that I've spoke to that actually like understand the full scope of it. Like ABF. Alec Baldwin's finger. He's going to be joining us, by the way, on SNH because he's really smart with like tech and shit like that. He's the only one I spoke to that really like truthfully kind of gets it at 100%, you know. And I just feel like I'm talking to a fucking wall. I feel like I'm talking to people with console mindsets. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But you're not going to have that mindset and they be out here talking about hardware like you know what the fuck you're talking about. That shit blows my mind. That blows my mind. Bro, anytime I don't know something about PlayStation or Xbox, you guys know I always ask you questions. Because I don't be using PlayStation or Xbox like that. You know, you guys corrected me a couple of times on Game Pass. The one time where I thought they didn't buy the game, but they did buy the game because you saw the message at the top and shit. Like, I don't know everything with the consoles, but I'm not going to be out here talking nonsense about things that I don't know about like that. But that's why some of you guys know more than I do, which is great. But bro, the people out here talking about hardware as if they, come on, bro. Don't be disingenuous about it. If you don't like it, fine. Speak your piece. But don't be disingenuous about it, bro. There was a guy who made a box with 3D printing and managed to build it to around 700-ish. Yeah, so I saw the guy who built it for about 800, and he even admitted that the machine is very loud. It's not as small. It's close. It's not as small, and it doesn't have the custom AMD. It doesn't have some of the custom parts. You know, just similar parts. It has similar parts. You know? Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft making millions of units to take hits on the hardware to lock you into their ecosystem. Valve does 1,000-unit runs, and the platform is completely open. Yeah, again, it's one of those things where it's like it is not a what's the word I'm looking for? It is not a hardware thing. Like, they're not a hardware company. Yeah, exactly. How much is the printer? How much the materials? He did it. Again, people are saying that he built it for XYZ, like $800, but that's just the parts that he chose to use. You're not even talking about the 3D printed that it takes to actually do it and the materials that it actually takes to make it as well. Not even like it. Also, by the way, like the research and development that goes into it, a lot of that time and a lot of that money that he saved was because Steam did it for him, and Steam opened it up so that other people can make their own Steam machine. So imagine if he had to do the R&D himself. How much money would that have cost? How much time would that have? Anyway, I'm done. I just, it's frustrating. It's like, I'm genuinely talking because I want to explain the mindset that this company has, that I know that they have, that they've even said that they have, but people are reading that and then they're spinning it into, well, they're not competing with consoles, so it's going to bomb. Bro. It's like, am I talking to the fucking sky? I feel like I am sometimes. Not you guys. I'm just saying in general. In general. Anyway, so that's basically it. Let's check out the gifted game.